Hey guys, welcome back. As you see here, we have the cat dad. Aaron is here. Back for another video. Today's video, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know this story. This is our story of Giselle. Giselle was our 1998 Honda Civic, who we drove.
What? LX.
Oh, Honda Civic LX.
Makes a
very,
difference.
very important. And I'm calling this the most Giselle intense thing that we did during our debt-free journey because it really was. This car situation is something else. We just wanted to take a trip down memory lane to talk about Giselle and the heartache that Giselle brought us. And I can't tell the story alone, for one, because I don't really know the whole story. And for two, Aaron did most of the work on Giselle. So he needs to be here to tell the story of Giselle. So as we start telling this story, we should probably introduce ourselves to you if you are new here. My name is Allison. This is Aaron, the cat dad. You just really want to show the cat dad mug. Oh, I should have my cat mom mug. Dang it. Anyways, we have paid off $125,000 together in debt, and we are working towards setting ourselves up for financial freedom, and we document it here on this channel as well as on Instagram, Baby Stepping to Freedom. So if you would like, you can scroll down real quick and subscribe to the channel so you see all of the videos coming up that we share our whole journey and give you tips and tricks to accomplish some of the same things that we have. All right, so Giselle. Okay, so when we started our debt-free journey, one of our debts that we had was our 2013 Subaru Forester. 2013 Subaru Forester, and that was like our first big purchase together. We felt like we were such grown-ups financing a car together. Adulting. We financed a car. Well, then, wouldn't you know it, we found ourselves in a lot of debt. And when we started our debt-free journey, we felt like the Subaru was the one thing we could get rid of. That we couldn't get rid of student loans, we couldn't get rid of the solar panels on our house, but we could get rid of the Subaru. And we just kind of started feeling anger towards the Subaru. Yeah. And we were paying this $350 a month car payment, and we're kind of hating the car. We liked the car, but we hated the idea of the car. And we thought, you know, getting rid of this debt would be the big push towards becoming debt-free. This is the one thing that we can get rid of, and it's a big chunk of money. So we owed more on the Subaru than it was worth, so we had to cash flow about a $3,000 difference to sell the Subaru. It took us a while to sell it as well. We decided to scale down in car, and we bought a 1998 Honda Civic LX. We knew that it was going to be a project, but this guy right here is good with projects. We bought an older car knowing that it would need maintenance that could be done for cheap and could be done at home. So that's why we went with a car that old. If we didn't have the ability to work on cars at home, we definitely would not have gone for a car that was 20 years old. When Dave Ramsey talks about driving beater cars, he says that your beater should be so awful that it deserves a name. And this car, this Civic, deserved a name. And the name was Giselle. And the name Giselle came from kind of like a play on words, gazelle, Giselle. There was like a sticker of a gazelle, the Financial Peace University sticker in the back of the window. Anyways, it was nice. When we bought the car, we knew that it was going to need some work. Aaron test drove it. I didn't test drive it because I trust when he says that there's something wrong with the car. What were the things that it needed?
It needed a new clutch. It needed an AC pump replaced. It's the AC compressor pump. And There were a couple other miscellaneous things, like the dash wasn't backlit and the door locks didn't work, but those are pretty minor things overall.
So we knew buying the car that it needed those things to be fixed. How much did we buy it for? $1,600. So we got rid of a $15,000 debt and bought a car for $1,600, knowing that there would be some things that needed to be replaced, but it was all good because Aaron felt comfortable replacing all those things. Okay, this is where we're at. This is November 2016. About 6 months into our debt-free journey, we felt like, yeah, we're making progress. We just got rid of this big debt, and now we can keep moving forward, and we were feeling good. The day after we bought the car, Aaron took it to DEQ. Explain DEQ if people don't have it. Apparently, some people don't have DEQ.
So in Washington, depending on the county you live in, you have to take your car to the Department of Environmental Quality and get it tested for emissions to determine whether or not the emission system and related equipment is functioning correctly on the car. If it's functioning correctly, sweet, you're good to go. You can take your car over to the Department of Licensing, license your car, and you're down the road. If it doesn't work, which we discovered it didn't work when we took it to the DEQ, then you have to do a couple different things. You can get it fixed. You can spend in Washington $150 in an attempt to get it fixed and get a waiver to go through DEQ as a waiver of, well, you tried to fix it, it doesn't work, and the Department of Licensing will allow you to license the car and you can continue driving it at that point.
So when we took the car into DEQ, it did not pass. It could have been a variety of things. Aaron took it into a local shop, and the shop said that there was something wrong. Do you remember what was wrong with it?
Yeah, it had some misfire codes, which means, okay, the cylinders don't have the compression they need. That's a term for it. The car has to be able to cause the gasoline to explode to properly run down the road. Didn't have the compression, therefore it couldn't properly use gasoline in the car.
Okay, so we spent the $150 to say we tried. Basically, that was the cost of the shop telling us what the problem was. And then we took it back to DEQ, and they issued us a waiver, and then we were able to go to the Department of Licensing and get it licensed. All good. But we were like, well, we should probably figure out what this problem is, right?
Right. The car ran terribly. It just really didn't run very well at all.
So we decided to do a little bit more digging to figure out, okay, what's actually the problem here? Long story short, what needed to be done?
The car needed...
The first thing.
The first thing.
Yeah.
The engine needed to be rebuilt.
Well, no, that's not. That wasn't what we knew of in the very beginning.
Oh, in the very beginning, the shop told us the engine head needed to be rebuilt.
Okay, so the engine head needed to be rebuilt. We took it to a different shop that we thought would be cheaper, and we wanted to get a second opinion, and that shop was like, yep, you need to replace the head. Okay, so that was how much?
They said it was going to be like $1,500 to $1,700.
So at this point, we're a couple days into buying a $1,600 car, and we find out that we have a $1,500 repair. And we were like, well, what do we do? Right?
Right.
So we decided to fix it. And then the shop called and said, well, we fixed the problem. The head was rebuilt or whatever, and now the car is smoking. And we think that what needs to be replaced?
The piston rings needed to be redone.
Okay, which these two things together, for layman terms like me, I have no idea what any of this means, the entire engine had to be rebuilt, but not just once. So they essentially took the whole engine out, did their thing, put it back together, said, oh, nope, not gonna work, gotta do it again, took it all out, redid it. So they basically had to rebuild the engine twice. And we were in a position where we were just like, what do we do? This is where we're like, okay, well, we're $3,000 in. Do we scrap it and get a new car? or do we continue forward, do the repairs, have a 20-year-old car that has a brand new engine? We decided to go the route of rebuilding it because we really had no other option. I mean, we were gonna have to pay for the original repair, so what do you do? So this is just the first few days of having this car. Well, actually the repair took a couple weeks, right? So after all was said and done, we bought the car for $1,600, and then we had a repair that cost...
It was like $4,400.
$4,400. So we are in this car for now...
like $6,000.
$6,000. A 1998 Honda Civic LX for $6,000. But we weren't done yet, because remember, all those things that we knew were going to need to be replaced when we bought the car, they still needed to be replaced. So the weekend that we got the car back, Aaron replaced the clutch. That was over Thanksgiving weekend in 2016. We have this beautiful car. Not beautiful, actually. It's a hot mess. But it had a brand new engine. And then Aaron replaced the clutch, and there were a lot of other various things that needed to be replaced just to get the car in working order. So there were dash lights that you replaced, the locks. The car didn't lock.
Yeah, well, I guess with the dash lights, there was like a controller that made them work that had to be replaced. I didn't replace the lights themselves.
You just replaced the controller.
Yeah, and then on the door locks, they had to be, like, one of the wires was cut inside the door, and so I had to replace the cut wire.
So those were all the things that were done in, like, the first month of owning the car. At that point, we were smooth sailing, or so we thought, on this car. So I actually never drove, well, I did drive the car sometimes, every once in a while, but it was Aaron's car to drive, not because, like, I wouldn't drive that car, because we didn't know when this car was ever going to break down. And if a car breaks down on me, I have no idea what to do. If a car breaks down on Aaron, he knows what to do. He can, like, hear a little noise and be like, oh, I know that means the something needs to be repaired, whatever.
The gadget.
The gadget needs to be repaired. So it was Aaron's car to drive. It took about a month to get it in working order, and we were on the road. So we drove the car for 2 years. Well, 2 years and 1 month. We'll get to that. But during the lifetime of the car, it was just one thing after the next, after the next. I think the longest we went in between repairs on this car was maybe like 3 months.
It was near the end. I thought things were going well.
Yeah, like, wow, this car, it's finally holding strong. But it was just like, we had a recurring item in our budget to just put money towards Giselle, because there was just always something that needed to be repaired on Giselle. So we're just gonna, like, fly through some of the things that were repaired in the 2-year lifetime of Giselle. So the biggest one was the power steering. That was a hassle. That was probably a year into it, maybe. Power steering needs to be repaired. The muffler was repaired. We took it out to get that done. What other things did you repair?
The starter had to be replaced. The battery had to be replaced. The rear driver's side door broke 3 separate times. The driver's side window broke as I was trying to roll it. I rolled it down at, like, night. And it was cold out, and it was windy, it was raining. I think I, like, poured some coffee out the window or something, and then I tried to roll the window back up, and that's it. No, it just, like, broke. It was, like, sideways. It wouldn't go back up, and it was, like, freezing. So I had the opportunity to drive home while raining, whilst really cold at night.
And I was driving behind you, and I was like, why is your window down? So then, also when we bought it, the fan was stuck on high. So it was either you have no air moving or high. So you repaired that. The radio didn't work.
Right.
Did you say the suspension?
Oh, I didn't say the suspension.
You
I
did
replaced all the suspension on the car.
Did we say the AC?
Didn't say that yet.
The AC was repaired. We got new tires. Also, like, regular oil changes. Did you say the brakes? Front and rear brakes.
Front and rear brakes. The car was regularly needing more oil because even after changing the engine and most of the components in the engine, it burned about a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. So I just had to keep just pouring oil into it.
Also, we have a giant oil stain in our driveway from it leaking too.
There's oil stains all over our driveway and in our garage from the car, just like leaking oil, burning oil everywhere.
We'll never forget Giselle. Permanent memories in our driveway.
Right. And probably scars on my hand from that car.
From all the times you had to repair the door.
Right. I think the door repair was one of my favorites though, because to get in there, you needed hands that were like the size of this pen to actually reach inside the door and repair the locks. And so like, I just like cut out a piece of metal like this big out of the inside of the door just to like be able to get my hand in there. And my neighbor was like looking at me like, what is he doing with like this angle grinder, just like cutting into the door to try to get into it.
Also, all the clear coating was coming off of the paint, and you just scraped all that off.
Every once in a while, I would have to take our pressure washer to the car because the clear coating was like flaking off of it, and it would just look terrible. So I would like pressure wash it off of the top of the car, and then I'd like take my paint scraper and just like get it off the top of the car, just so it looked not good, but okay. Better than terrible.
You know what I forgot? Right after everything was fixed and it was like, we are going to start driving this car, someone backed into Aaron in the parking lot.
That was right after I did the clutch. It was like right when we got the thing.
I know. It was like in the first week of driving it. Someone backed into him in a parking lot. And then she tried to say it was your fault.
Right.
Even though she backed into you.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got like a $350
redemption.
Insurance issued a $350 check for us to repair the dent and part of the bumper because the bumper was already cracked. So they said, well, we won't repair the whole thing. Anyways, we're like, we're not fixing this. So we just put $350 towards our debt because that car was costing us enough already.
I think the adjuster was like probably laughing when he's like, you really want me to replace that bumper on that car? It's a classic car. It needed it.
Yes, it did. But also the bumper was falling off too. You had to fix that. One time I was driving it and I heard this like, tick, 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 tick. So I didn't know what the sound was. I had to pull over on the side of the road and there's plastic coming out of the bumper and I had to rip it off and I kicked the car in the middle of the freeway because I was so mad at it. Anyways, this is Giselle. This was Giselle. Never-ending projects on this car. A headache the entire time. We had the car, but we were like, we're gonna power through because even all these repairs that we had to make, I mean, in the long run was less than what our car payment was on the Subaru. So after the initial investment of buying the car, the great investment of buying the car, making all the initial repairs, in the end, we came out how far ahead?
So getting rid of the car plus the initial repairs. So we had a $15,000 car loan plus the initial repairs of $6,000. We gained about $9,000 worth of ground.
Yeah, but we also had to pay $3,000 to get rid of the Subaru too.
But that was gaining ground.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying like the whole transaction gained us about $9,000.
Okay.
That snowball.
Okay. So $9,000. So we still came out ahead, but we had 2 years of headache with this car. Headache. I had like a minor headache. Aaron had like a migraine, a Giselle migraine.
I'm just thinking one of my other favorite memories of Giselle, driving down the road. I'm going to use this piece of cardboard for like demonstration purposes. The sun's in my eyes, and I try to put down the sun visor. And then when the sun was out of my eyes, I like try to put it up, and the visor just like does that. So I took these large industrial screws and just like nyet, right back in the ceiling with it.
Just
perfect.
You don't need to take that off.
Right.
Well, you still could take it off. It was a nice repair.
I still could.
Yeah.
But with a car with a name, you just use industrial screws.
Yeah.
To fix it.
So we could really talk about Giselle forever. It was like never-ending stories of Giselle. But what happened is December 2018, Aaron noticed some troubles running. It wasn't accelerating correctly. He brought it home, ran some tests, and was like, I think this is the engine.
This is the end of Giselle.
Basically, the engine failed again. It was 6,000 miles out of the original warranty from the repair that we did. So the shop that did the repair would not cover it because it was outside of warranty. The shop we took it to confirm that that was the problem said, yep, the engine needs to be rebuilt. That's what we would recommend. And we were like,
hard pass.
Nope, not doing it. We're calling it a wash with Giselle. We were 1 month debt free. We made it to the end, and we had a bit of an emergency fund built up already, and we were like, we're done. So we sold Giselle for $350 to someone who wanted to put a new engine in it, I guess. All he cared about is that he could drive it home. He could. Barely started when he left. And then he called a few days later and said it had been stolen. All we ever wanted was that car to be stolen out of our driveway. And it was never stolen. And then he contacts Aaron because he left the title in the glove box. And he wanted to know if we had the license plate number because it had been stolen. Anyways, so Giselle was out of our life. Forever. Never to be seen again. We used the emergency fund that we had saved up, and we bought a new car, new to us car, that does not require maintenance. Oh my gosh, can't believe I just said that. You just knock on wood.
I can't believe you said that. You know what? Right after that happened too, our older Yaris had to have a repair.
That's true. Yep, we had to repair our other car. So our new car is a 2017 Toyota Yaris IA. Our other car is a 2007 Toyota Yaris. So we are a double Yaris family now. And the hope is that Aaron gets a little bit of a break from all the car maintenance. You really haven't had to do any maintenance except for the repair to the Yaris.
I might actually get my garage clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you won't have a car in there anymore. Well, I think that's the end of the story. We probably, after we're done with this, are probably going to think of at least 10 other things that we didn't mention in this, but you get the idea. Giselle, the most gazelle intense thing we've done in our debt-free journey.
The nicest 1998 Honda Civic LX you could probably find.
I don't know if I would recommend selling a car to get an older car. I mean, I don't think every situation would turn out like this. We bought a Honda Civic with, the idea that Hondas are good cars and they last a long time and you can put a lot of miles on them and they won't have problems. And that's true for a lot of people. That was not true for us. Going back, obviously, we would not have done it again. Really, the gain that we got in our debt-free journey was not worth the headache that it brought with it, but we learned a lot. Aaron is now a professional in Honda Civics. If you have any questions about Honda Civics, you can follow him on Instagram, Aaron's Bright Ideas. He does not have any... too bad you didn't have your account when you were doing all those repairs.
That's true.
Would have turned into a Honda Civic encyclopedia.
That's true.
But he now knows a lot. So that is a silver lining in this whole thing. Aaron learned a lot. I learned a lot. Mm-hmm. We both learned a lot about fixing cars, but also making decisions.
If I ever want to punish myself again, I could buy another 1998 Honda Civic.
Nope, not gonna happen. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you don't have a headache. I kind of have a headache going over this story again. Oh, what a hassle. See you next time.